その間鍵穴に目を近づけるのはいけないことでしょうか。ナイス。
What's going on? Hands here. Today we bring you all a 4-star unit tier list for Arcana Tactics. This is gonna be a longer video. I'm gonna go in depth with each individual unit and why I grade the way why I grade, where I grade them at, and why. And we'll be going over 4 different categories, like 6 different categories. I'm getting into one. DPS, single target DPS, AOE DPS, attack range, physical tank, magical tank, healing, and utility. We're going to, I'm going to grade them all on an individual level and then use that medium, and that way it's going to be on it. Also, we're going to check and see, like I said, S is going to be the standalone units in this class. I got a special one for S for the hitting units because they're all pretty much broken. And so yeah, A is going to be strong but require elemental bonus or Arcana. B is for solid characters, require element bonus or Arcana to be impactful. C is gonna be really situational characters. Next one's gonna be, and D is gonna be extremely codependent ones. So without further ado, also each unit is gonna be time stamped below, so you can skip to the unit you want, that you know, or you think you're overpowered, or and then you can see that. And then, like I said, always if you disagree, I'm all for talking about it and discussing the tier list and below. At the end of the day, all the units are really good, but there are some that are a little bit better than others, and some that you can you use more than others. It's unequal to treat all the units equally. So without further ado, let's get going. All right, first off, we got the Lunatic. The Lunatic is basically a one-man war machine. After 6 seconds, he get a permanent 10k physical attack. And then, permanent 100 physical attack, and then he has attack speed buff, making his basic attacks hit like a truck. Creating further boosts his stuff, but he uses a physical attack buff, and the more attacks he do, because since he have a self heal as well, the more attacks he do is the more chance he can heal himself. And he also got extremely long range to fight, being a swordsman. So all that skills, how he doing, he's great by himself. Doesn't really need that much buffs. Doesn't need anybody else because he self-buff himself. He self-heals. That's why I put him definitely in the standalone OP. Standalone unit stands alone in his class. Now, next up, you're gonna have the Blade Singer. The Blade Singer is a huge single target nuke with his 3rd skill. Got very strong basic attacks. He boosts a very great single target speed. Has an okay AoE. He's got shorter range, but at level 3, after 6 seconds, he gets 30% physical attack buff and a magical attack buff. And on paper, he's probably the best single target nuke in the game on paper. And you compare him with Warrior Guard and Striker. He's really great. Also, he buffs other characters too, like Warrior Guard and Striker and Warshaper, where with paired with them, he make them better more so. Next up, we have the Sylph. Sylph is extremely squishy. It's an extremely squishy unit. But what he makes up for it is with his permanent passive that boosts himself and the nearest allies to attack speed by 10%. And 3rd stack allows to knock back enemies. It's very good to pair up with. Actually, I'm gonna put him on C because he need more team synergy. I'll put him down in the C category. He's got very good attack range. It's a nature one, but he just needs some synergy and elements to get the job done. Next up, we got the Shade. The Shade is the only other unit that can activate a skill after 4 attacks. He got strong AoE magic. Yeah, he got strong AoE magic skill that chains up the hits of the 3 enemies. His first chain deals 100% damage. Second chain does 50% damage. His 3rd chain does crit damage. So I'll put him in. He has the luxury of saving your. He has the luxury of staying in your back lines too as well. He's strong, but definitely better. He's definitely one of the better characters. I'll put him in A, because only why I'm gonna put him in A because he doesn't have a self heal. He doesn't have anything to buff himself, so he does require other units to become or Arcana to make him OP or craziness, right? All right, next thing up, we got the Ruler. The Ruler's a pretty good Lancer unit, and she boasts definitely a significant amount of utility. After 5.5 seconds, she gives 20% magic buff to herself and the 3 allies within the space. And when she hits, reduces all damage received by 20% for herself and the allies. And finally, she has a chance to randomly heal allies. So she's a really good buffer. She's really good. She has, pretty great, attack stats. She has pretty great utility. She's pretty good tank. Actually, I'm actually gonna put her. I was thinking about putting her in A, but now after talking about her again, I think she's better off. At. She's pretty good actually. Yeah, well, buffing, stuff like that. I'm gonna promote her to A. I'm gonna promote her to S because she's great standalone. She's great with her healing. She's great with the stuff and her overall attacks and stuff and that range. It balances out. Since I'm great in everything for different categories, and when she balances out, she's actually pretty good. So I'm definitely gonna put her at S tier. Actually, I changed that because she was gonna be an A, but I think she's more of an S tier character. Next up, you got the Undine. Stays in the back line. She'll increase the magic attack of herself and the backline allies by 120, and she create a barrier for one of the allies. And finally, she has a chance to slow enemies. Like I said, C. I'm gonna put her in C. Situational as well. Of course, the backline. You gonna have times when you need a backline buff. She's an ice spirit. I think she most of the time you're gonna spend using her on certain boards. So, like I said, but depending on the situation, and since she's that situational, and there's other characters out there that are more important, I think definitely be C tier, situational, but good team synergy and elements can get the job done, right? Next up, you got the Shadow Dancer. The Shadow Dancer is one of only 4-star units that can at least skill after 4 attacks. Wait a second. Okay. And it can reduce enemies' physical defense. It can bring it down, and it can be useful against like tanky bowling bosses and stuff like that, and other characters. But without any kind of self buffs or things, she's bestly. I'm gonna put her down in C, in B. The solid character require bonuses or Arcana to be impactful. Pair her with the crit Arcanas, because obviously being a rogue, she can be significant, but by herself or just with that alone, she needs more oomph. So that's why she's gonna definitely be in a B tier. All right, then we got the Vanguard. The Vanguard is a really solid tank, right? Because a tanky defuffer that guarantees a still physical defense from the enemy, while having a chance to reduce the physical attack of random enemies. Gets a niche like 50% resistance to poison. So you get poison and bleed. So that's why I'm gonna put him in A. And he's really great on high difficulty maps. You'll definitely see him being better on maps with a high difficulty level, and he's definitely pretty a solid unit to have. But definitely, like I said, needs that like element bonus of some more Arcana to get him there to be OP. Like you pair him with some of the Arcana that benefits his class, or you'd be definitely in a good spot. All right, next up we got the Destroyer. The Destroyer is great. It's a warrior. It boosts a lot of self heal for every 7 attacks and can slow enemies for 3.5 seconds. The problem is finally she can very tank against ice type enemies. I think I'm gonna put her in C because while she has a self heal, I'll put her in B because she got the self heal for 30% every 7 attacks, which is slow enemies. She's good, but require element bonus. Since she's ice, she's really good against ice type, really tanky. Like warriors are obviously very tanky, and she's very tanky against ice type units. But that's what it is. It's only ice type units. You get a fire, you get it racked up. So I'm definitely gonna give her in a B tier, but her self healing gives her to more points. Next up, you got the Mystic. It's a support unit that increases magic attack to herself and allies, while decreasing the magic attack on the highest enemy and debuffing. She has a second skill. She can hit up to 2 enemies or 3 enemies with stun. Once again, put her in B. Really good utility. Some pretty solid AoE with the utility. Can buff the cuff characters. But like I said, pretty solid, but requires some more Arcana element, which makes it be really more impactful. But you know, but a little bit better than the Scene Synergy one, right? All right, next we got the Oracle. The Oracle is a versatile support that can tank against magic and damage, and thanks to his third skill, can heal himself for up to 70% of magic damage dealt to him. He can also create a barrier to 3 random enemies, so he's better than this one. So actually, since he created a barrier, he's extremely versatile. Got some very solid. He got some got some middling AOE, middling single target damage, but got some really good attack range. I definitely gonna put him in the A category. He got a great utility, and he's pretty solid, and he can self heal, and also that shield can definitely help out other opponents, other enemies. Sorry, not opponent enemies, other teammates. I'm not editing it out. It's cool, you know. It is what it is. Okay. Anyway, next we got the Archmage. He can have the 3 enemies with a strong AoE attack. And he can silence up 2 enemies, and also can randomly heal the lowest HP ally. So once again, I am going to put him. While he do have a great AOE attack, and he has very good range, and he does have pretty solid healing, so I think I'm gonna put him in B. Who does require elemental because he's a fire wizard. I think in the random hills he's pretty solid, but also there's other more stronger choices when it comes to force the what's name. But he's a pretty solid character, but may require some Arcana to get him to have the next level. Next we got the High Assassin. The High Assassin has the highest base attack speed and attack and a 5% crit rate. That makes it one of the strongest single target characters too. She can drop iron units like hotcakes. She really can. She's really great with that. Her low attack range makes her vulnerable to getting taken out by enemies AoE, which puts her more into solid, but also requires and I'll put it in A because she needs that. But also, like, if you put her with because since she's assassin, you get the crit rate up with the Whirl and the Joker. Oof, man, not the Whirl and Joker, but the other 2 Arcanas that focuses on the crit. Man, it will be super OP. He's great, strong character, one of the strongest, highest attack with base attack when it comes to base attacks. But yeah, definitely, if you give Arcane Wolf, it's going to be a one and done thing especially when it comes to iron units. Given the fact that it's an iron assassin. All right, then we got the Wind Waker. Wind Waker got a very unique ability, a chance of targeting enemy the farthest from you, and the basic attack is boosted by her magical attack. It's got very good range, got very solid utility. You got very solid single target, but I think she's extremely situational. I think she can put her in C. It's only like if you want to. Actually, no, I'm gonna put her in. Yeah, I put it in C. I would put it in D, but she can with some buffs and get like I said, with some she can team synergy. She can definitely get the job done. Because you buff other characters and other higher attack characters or higher magical attack characters. Next up, we got the Royal Guard. The Royal Guard after 8 seconds gets physical defense buff. Right, so she's going to be a tanky swordsman. It can stun enemies and heal her, and with a self heal, can heal herself and her allies when she gets healed. She's a great tank with great tanking skills, so definitely gonna be in the S. She can heal. She got self heal. She got good utility. She can heal others. Man, yeah, solid tank. You can't go wrong with the Royal Guard. You definitely cannot go wrong. Definitely cannot go wrong with the Royal Guard. It's a pretty solid. Next up, you got the Arcane Archer. The Arcane Archer also with the Royal Guard being a light unit definitely works out. Because the only weakness is dark, so it can pretty good most of the time. The Arcane Archer is a 5 second permanent Gets a 2% and 4% magic buff. And has a chance of hitting up to 4 enemies with each basic attack. So it got very good AoE, but I think Arcane Archer is definitely a situational character and requires good team synergy to be better. The Soul Eater's next. I'm not gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. She's probably one of the worst 4-star units they release. Because until people can synthesize with poison, she takes less than 25% damage, but she can't be healed. And then her stats aren't high enough to even make her passes useful. She can only poison up to 3 enemies. So yeah, like, I don't know. I'm not really a big fan of her, honestly. Next up, we got the Valkyrie. She got low base defense, but has self-healing as a passive. Her self-healing makes her go up. She's not a true tank, but her first skill can hit multiple enemies. And a third skill with single target nuke, I think I'm gonna get her. Yeah, she'll be a C. She'll be a B. She's pretty solid. She's the self heal and stuff. I give her a little more points than I would have. But other than that, yeah, he's definitely good. Oh, Death Knight. Death Knight permanently reduces all magic damage to himself and has the highest best magical defense and also skill magical defense. And also randomly cast a fear on enemy before they dies. I'm gonna put Death Knight. Ooh. I'm gonna put him in S tier. He got amazing utility. He got amazing. Not only got amazing utility, he also has amazing tank. He's a good tank. He can tank it up to the best of them, and he has some debuffs and some skills that can definitely. And that fear can help a bit with taking too as well. So definitely he's a very good character to go by and he can stand on his own. And also being a dark character, only weakness is light. Also, next we got the Raven. He's a huge single target nuker and can silence a random enemy. And he can shred through light enemies, but I'm putting him in situational. Nah, I put him in solid. He's a solid character, but requires elemental bonus. He requires me fight that. And also, there's better single target nukers. Like you can easily go with the Lunatic or go with the Lunatic or go with the base main singer for your single target nukes, or even go with the high assassin. So that's why I put him on there. This is better characters. Ancient Bow, it's an archer. He got 2 skills. It can hit up to 3 enemies. Uses magical tech for damage. Can stack fire allies on the field. He'll hit harder. I'm gonna put him in B. He's solid. I say these require some bonuses to help him actually get going. The Savage. Her first skill can slow an enemy, right? Which reduces their attack speed by 30%. Her third skill is like an LO. It's like a equivalent. She kind of like Nexian in League of Legends. And her low base skill attack speed is a non-issue because she can mark it with people with death. After 2 of her skills, she can attack faster than a higher assassin. So I'm gonna put her. I'm gonna put her in A. Her first skill, the fact that she can slow enemy and reduces their attack speed, which is really good. She has, even though she has low base speed, but she can mark for death for enemies, and she can get fast. She can buff herself as she gets faster. So she's definitely solid. This is how the character to have in that area. And being a warrior, she definitely has better base stats when it comes to defense. Next, we got the Corsair. He has a nuclear ability of searing damage, taking 20% of damage away from your front tanks and reduce the physical dex of the enemies physical defense of the enemies and attack up to 3%. So I don't know. I think he's like situational, honestly. Next, we got the Dragon Slayer. The Dragon Slayer hits hardest against enemies with higher physical defense. So definitely situational, honestly. And then her second skill can stun, but like I said, her first skill is so dependent on other enemies. So I put her in definitely a situational category. Osiris, her first skill has a chance to hit 3 enemies. Her second skill sacrifices a bit of her health to heal another ally. She's pretty good, but it's too slow to be. But she's too low to be useful. And her third skill makes her attack higher if her ally dies. So actually, I'm gonna put her down as situational because there's a lot of ifs on her thing. If this dies, then do this, or if this dies, then do this, or if you got this. So definitely a situational unit. Still good, but on a situation. Trickster, I'm gonna put it down here. It is difficult to use. He reduces the enemy crit rate by 3% while increasing his team damage by 30%. But both is kind of too low to make a really of a difference. But it can see it's way more codependent on everything else, like Arcana, and then the percentages is just ooh man, yeah. Now we got the the Sibyl. She has a 25% crit rate buff, a 25% chance to crit rate 70% of the time. Like she has 50, it's 75% of the time 70% of the time she will increase her crit rate. And the first skill can hit the 4 enemies and reduce a third possible. It's possibly the strongest magical attack nuke in the game. She can deal. Yeah, she's definitely one of the better 4-stars she can use. She's definitely gonna go to A because while she is great, standalone and stuff, she requires a little more element bonus to be like overpowered in other units. Next up is gonna be the Eldritch. He's a great support AOE. Mage. He can freeze a higher second enemy for every 2 seconds. Also deals non-stop magic damage per second to enemies. Really good attack range. He's definitely definitely a solid unit, but against as an ice unit, definitely against his elemental peers, could be really great. Really strong. Need more little stuff to make him over the top and put him in the S. Also, now generic, the unit with the most unique skill of teleporting most of your enemy team behind the back line. It's positioning her away from the enemy units while you stay in the front lines. She's a great, really solid utility unit. Really good, what I'm gonna put her in B. She's really solid. Definitely requires other things to be useful with and other characters. Bishop has 2 skills, right? She can heal by a large amount, and also she can be aware that her main skill, it targets the frontmost enemy. But regardless of that, her third health and her passive is really great. I'm gonna put her in A. Yeah, A. S. Because she's really great. She's really good. Her healing, her utility is extremely good, and her range is really solid. And she's a great healer. But she needs somebody else. She can't do it. She need obviously healers and support. It need to be biased. It needs somebody else. Windcure. This unit heals 4 random enemies by a large amount. She got 6.6 seconds permanent increase to defense. She removes all debuffs. She got high attack speed, high utility. She's a really solid unit. She's standalone. She's OP because she's standalone. She don't need anything to buff everybody or debuff everybody, but she is definitely a great unit to have. The Templar. He's a tank defuffer with very weak heal. He needs to pair up with a unit that can get. You know what? I'm gonna do this because she needs to pair up with a unit that can give her a barrier to take advantage of a passive and reduces that. So since she requires other units to become strong, I definitely need to put her in the D category. Dark Priest has a great heal AOE and the fastest AOE, but not the most. Probably got the strongest single target healer in the game. Can silence enemies out of any single unit and makes allies resistant to all status effects. So it's a really good healer, really solid. Needs with some more buffs and like that, it can definitely be, the healing can definitely be through the roof. The champion, pretty solid character. Every 6 attacks, he unleashes a single target nuke on an enemy. His basic attack also has a chance to chains and hit 2 enemies as it is. Lets him do more DPS and chain damage. Hits him 200% of the time. I'm gonna put him in A actually. Now I'm looking at him, he has the same attack range as High Assassin, but also has a little bit more of that pump. So he's definitely a really good character to use. The Warshaper. He's somewhat of a tanky. Got somewhat of a tanky debuff unit. He's situational, honestly. He can knock back enemies. All he'll see about him is boosted by 10%, but it's so low. I'm gonna put him down there. Like, he's situational. The Swashbuckler has 2 skills that can hit up to 4 enemies. One of them passives. I'm gonna give him B. He can be B. He's really solid, but he needs, since it's a fire unit and he burns other units. Definitely gonna need some more Arcana to put him over the hump. Now the Fortress. It gets a permanent magic defense. So active 75% of the time. It's same passive. She got a self heal when hit. She can slow the enemy. She got a solid utility, pretty good range. Actually, the Fortress is actually where to go. The only issue is her attack range is high for a tank. But doesn't, like, that's good though. Having a high attack range on a tank is not the worst thing in the world. The Operator is a really solid support unit. It can increase the attack speed of herself. She can slow up the 3 enemies. Her third skill reaches all damage. She's just a really solid. I think she's a really great unit, really solid unit to have, and definitely something that unit that you definitely won't regret having on your team. And being iron definitely, has that neutrality going on. You got the Lightning Lord. The first skill can hit up to 4 enemies. Second skill is a strong magic nuke that guarantees stun. Third skill makes his basic attack hurt a little bit harder. So it's a pretty solid unit. Obviously, it's just not perfect, but solid. Exorcist is very powerful teleporting behind the thing. Can take range enemies out and get damage away from your attacks. He's really clutch on maps where the boss enemy has a tank and also has self heal. Put him in an A unit. He's definitely. Why is this here? This is not. Oh man, I forgot to take that off. Definitely not. Definitely not. What's I saying? Oh yeah. Definitely not like powered by himself as the top most people, but he still can do the job done. Last but not least is Salamander. Salamander, he got 2 AoEs. He's alright. Situational. I think situational is possible. I definitely could put him over here. He's not really, make or break, but he's pretty decent. Now, this last bonus is these hidden characters. These hidden characters are pretty good for each of all their classes. Extremely OP. Being hidden characters, they're not not too much research on them as much as everybody else, but definitely you can't go wrong with them. They are all pretty significantly solid when it comes to this. And yeah, so there we have it, folks. This is my 4-star tier list. I think 4 stars are actually more, like I said, meat and potatoes. You can never go wrong with the 4 stars. Everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, but gun to my head, these are the best of the best, the cream of the crumb, best of better, good as they go. Some are more situational than others, but yeah. Let me know how you think about this. Let me know. You agree, disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. Hey, let me know if you want to talk about. They want me to see my face in this more than I showed y'all. I don't. But anyway, I'm rambling now. But yeah, let me know. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this tier list. Obviously, all the units have their uses. Some of this is more overall beneficial and useful than others. But that's gonna do it for today. Peace.